Okay, as promised, it is 5 after the hour, so we are going to get started. First, I want to welcome everybody to Building Your Business with Amazon Web Services. Today, we're going to spend today kind of talking about the ways that you as a small business or a company who's just starting can leverage not just the cloud infrastructure from AWS, and we'll talk about what that is and how you as a business can leverage it, but also a number of programs we've developed over the years that can help grow and enable your business. I'm Mackenzie Kosut. I'm the global startup advocate for Amazon. And what that basically means is I spend my time talking to companies, helping mentor them, give them guidance, and I do this on a global scale. I've worked with a large number of enterprises, but also helped to grow a number of startups out of New York City, including Tumblr, Oscar Health, who's trying to fix a broken healthcare system, and Betterment, which is the world's largest independent robo-advisor. I share my background because I'm just one of the many members of the startup team at Amazon with extensive experience who's interested in sharing my knowledge and expertise with all of you. As a small or medium-sized business, you play a major role in driving economic growth. Whether this is through job creation or socioeconomic development locally or abroad, you're also probably looking for new ways to employ and scale your customer services and solutions. Today, we're going to cover the benefits of building your business with Amazon and also introduce you to a number of programs you can leverage to, again, help grow your business. We're also joined by one of our customers. I'm actually very honored to have him on the call, Trevor, and we'll talk about his company, HomeSafe First, and he'll be talking about his personal experience of what it was like growing with these programs. And you'll hear more about this company shortly. At Amazon, we've been helping businesses of all sizes for well over 14 years, and we've been the preferred cloud for businesses since the beginning. And these include companies that use every day like Netflix or people building huge gaming systems like Epic with their game Fortnite. All of these businesses started with their first AWS service, their first line of code, and their first of eventually many delighted customers. Today, it's really your chance to hear about these programs and begin your journey and to figure out how you can partner with Amazon. At Amazon, our mission really has not changed since we began as a small business back in 1994. I know it's hard to think of Amazon as a small business, but that's how we began, and we've grown since. Our mission back then, and still the same today, is that we want to be Earth's most customer-centric company. And that's regardless of what vertical we go into. So whether this is like simplifying customer shopping experiences with just walk out Amazon Go stores, or making package delivery more convenient by using drones and delivering these packages to your doorsteps, or maybe it's building the latest cloud technologies using Amazon Web Services. Looking through the lens of our mission at any of our areas of business, and you're going to see that the customer is always at the center of it. And I really wanted to open with this because I believe many businesses can benefit by adopting a similar mission. As you work to test your next product or try to figure out what your customers want next, or perhaps you're trying to prioritize, which features or capabilities you want to build, this mission has helped us over the years at Amazon, and I hope by adopting it, you can have similar success. The common follow-up question that people ask after they say, okay, a great mission is how? How do you actually do that? And for us, we start with our customer and work backwards, and it's always been this way. As a small business owner, I encourage you to look up our talk on how we think about innovation at Amazon. This is going to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how we build products internally at Amazon. You're going to learn that before we write a single line of code, before we think about package design or what the product's going to look like, we actually write a mock press release. And this isn't going to go out to the public. It's a press release that helps us crystallize our vision to figure out how are we going to release this product? How are we going to tell customers this is something of value that they actually were going to care about? All too often, and I see this with companies I talk to, and this happens with large companies and small businesses, we spend months building something, and we think people want it, and by the time it gets out the door, you realize there's no market there for it to actually be sold. And so this really helps make sure that you stay with your vision of building something that customers want, and knowing how to talk about it and market it once it's released. It'll save you a lot of time down the road. So it's a great process that we call the working backwards process. And we have lots of videos and presentations online that talk about it. And so I highly encourage you to look at it. It may save you a lot of time if you're looking at building a new part of your business. The reality is that even when they don't know it, customers always want something better. And this constant desire to delight them is going to drive you to continue to innovate and invent on their behalf. This also helps us because, over the last 14 years, as businesses have been building in education spaces, financial spaces, healthcare spaces, you name it, whether it's McDonald's, who's launched their home delivery platform in a few months, Coinbase, who's built the largest consumer Bitcoin wallet in the world, or Convoy, who's disrupting this $800 billion trucking industry. From all of these businesses that we've worked with, we work hard to kind of understand what the hurdles are that companies face when they're trying to build their services and products, and we aim to remove those obstacles. When Amazon started, or AWS started, I should say, we were just a handful of these simple services like a database or compute. And today we have over 190 services that make it easy to build powerful websites and mobile applications to delight even the most picky of users. These are services that let you build conversational bots with the same technology that the Alexa is built on, ingest large numbers of documents, to pull out people's, places, and topics and more automatically using a tool called Amazon Comprehends, all the way up to ingesting data from satellites. So this is a broad spectrum of amazing tools and services that you can piece together for your business. The reality is that the world is actually an ever-moving target of changing needs. Businesses that learn how to adapt to these ever-moving changes stand the best chance of continuing to thrive. Think back to just over probably 5 years ago, right? When the only way that people typically interacted with computers was with a keyboard or their phone. Today, we're seeing more and more customers who want to use their voice and simply ask Alexa to do similar tasks. This is one of the many examples of how our customers' needs and wants change. So the more nimble you can stay, the quicker you can build to adjust to these shifts. AWS really is the cornerstone of how companies stay innovative and allow them to pivot into new areas of business without needing a large amount of capital or large technical teams. A great example of this, and talked about this a little earlier, is the company HomeSafe out of St. Louis. Because they were already building their public safety product in AWS, they were in a great position to pivot and experiment quickly. In the very early days of COVID-19, HomeSafe first identified a need to do contact tracing, which is a helpful part of the multi-pronged approach to the pandemic. In just a matter of 3 days, they had a working version up and going of this contact tracing. This allowed users to submit their data through traditional app interfaces like mobile and web, but they also allowed users to phone into an automated voice system built using Amazon Connect. Today, it's being deployed and used by both Missouri and Baltimore housing authorities, and a big enabler of this was leveraging the credits and expertise of the Cloud Start program here at AWS, which we'll talk more about shortly. So this is one of, and also at the end of this talk, we actually have the founder of HomeSafe, Trevor, who's going to talk about that experience and shed some more light on what that was like and what they're doing today. So this is one of the many advantages of why businesses are building with AWS. HomeSafe didn't have to build everything from scratch. They picked from these 190 services and they connected them together. So in a few days, they were able to start solving a real problem, which was contact tracing. Historically, something like this would have taken weeks, even if you had the most stellar of engineering teams. And most of that time would have been spent provisioning servers, setting up services. So we remove all that headache and let you focus on really what matters. And that's building a better product and engaging with your customers. Another one of these examples is Kula Brands, who's a marketing and funding organization for small businesses, and they're based in Fountain Hills, Arizona. So they started like most companies by running their own servers to host their portfolio companies. But as users rapidly signed up to these sites, they started experiencing capacity and performance issues. They ended up migrating a number of these companies over to AWS to help with the scalability and reliability of their sites. With AWS, they're able to use something called auto-scaling, which allows their systems to then automatically scale up and down with the demand for their sites. And because as their demands of these sites shifted throughout the day and night, it allowed you to spin up the right number of servers to keep your costs very optimized. When you're just starting out, having a website or service that's reliable is really essential for building a trusted user base. Users want to use websites they can depend on when they need them. So AWS helped Kula brands achieve this. It can also help with your websites to make sure that they're scalable, reliable, and available when users need them the most. I'll give you a quick primer on kind of what cloud computing is, and this kind of sums it up. So cloud computing, if you're not familiar with it, is the on-demand delivery of compute power, database, storage, and applications and other IT resources. And these are delivered over the internet with a pay-as-you-go pricing. So whether you're running applications that share photos to millions of mobile users, or you're supporting critical operations of your business, maybe it's an HR system, maybe it's a financial system for your business, cloud computing provides this rapid access to low-cost IT resources. It used to be that the company with the greatest technology had the best chance of succeeding. And today, AWS has really leveled the playing field, giving every person and every business, it doesn't matter if you're a two-person company or a Fortune 500 company, every company has access to the same great technology, regardless of your size. As a customer, the reality is that they don't really care what database you're running, what operating system you're running. So do spend time where it matters on your product. By building on AWS, you get a head start by getting access to this good tech and then building your best applications on top of it. This flywheel, I guess you could call it a flywheel, really kind of demonstrates how AWS has enabled innovation, not just for startups, but really businesses of all sizes. So if you start at the top left, the first is a zero upfront cost. So Amazon's web services is built with a pay-as-you-go model, meaning there's no upfront contracts. Traditionally, businesses would have to go and you sign a 1-year, a 3-year, a 5-year contract for a service, a server, a database, you name it, or maybe a website. And your needs might change, but you're locked into those contracts. Well, with AWS, you pay for only what you're using, and it's an upfront cost. You don't have to figure out how much capacity you need down the line. You can just start trying and building, and as your users grow, you can continue to add or remove servers or other IT resources as you need them. And this really helps optimize your costs. The second is that it really helps you launch faster. Right? We talked about with HomeSafe First how they were able to deploy a inbound phone system. This is using Amazon Connect. To stand up and build your own phone tree system like that and automate it would have taken weeks. But having access to these services lets you click a button, have access to a fully robust functionality and capability quickly. And so this allows you as a company to launch faster. These two things combined allow you as a business to start experimenting. So a good note on that is, in order to stay innovative and figure out how to keep shifting to your customers, you as a company should always be experimenting to try new ideas and really doubling down on those that work. And the secret to running more experiments is to drive the cost of experimentation down, right? The less an experiment costs to do, the more you as a business can run. And the more innovation you can create, you might hit more winners at that point and then put more money and more resources behind those experiments that took off. So AWS helps you really reduce that risk of experiments, because if something fails, let's say you launch a new product or business and it doesn't take off. Well, you're again not locked into those long-term contracts. You can flip a switch, turn off those machines, and now try a new experiment. A quick side note and story about experimentations is they should be risky. They should be willing to fail. And these are going to happen regardless of how big your company is. We've had many glorious failures in your years of Amazon, but the trick is to learn from these mistakes, right? An experiment that you conduct that doesn't go well, as long as you've learned something and you put that towards a new product or a new feature, it's not a negative thing. That's a great experience to have. For us, many years ago, we wanted to get into the mobile phone business. We had a great idea that we wanted to launch the Amazon Fire Phone. So we hired a bunch of people who were great at developing mobile devices and building voice services. And very soon after we launched that product, we realized that it wasn't such a great idea and we didn't want to be in the mobile phone business. So that ended up being a failure. But we learned a lot about building these devices and building voice services. And that ended up leading to the Amazon Alexa and Echo devices. And so that's a great example of having a failure and learning from it. You should always be trying these experimentations and willing to fail, but like moving forward once that happens. And the best part is AWS makes it easy and inexpensive to do that. The overall benefit of this flywheel is you're ideally focused on what matters, which is your core business value. You shouldn't be spending your time managing and scaling servers. You should be building these products, building new features, and finding ways to make your customers happy. When AWS started back in 2006, it's been 14 years, we really could never have predicted just how much it was going to change the IT landscape. So today, there's millions of companies who are building on top of AWS. What we couldn't also predict is the direct impact it was going to have on startups and small businesses. Harvard Business Reports did a study, and they looked at the direct impact that AWS had on startups for a 10-year period. What they saw was it used to take about $500,000 to get a startup off the ground and growing. And that was $500,000. Most of that was going towards data centers and IT infrastructure. Well, when AWS came around, we started to offer these services like storage and databases, and soon the cost to launch for startups dramatically reduced to about $50,000 by 2010. As of last year, startups are launching and small businesses for $5,000 and less. I meet companies often. I met a company in Orlando last year. There's a one-person shop. They have, I believe it's now over 30,000 customers, and they're profitable. And again, they launch it out of pocket, fully bootstrapped, and they are profitable as a one-person shop. Something like this just would not be possible years ago. And that's what's really kind of humbling for us to see is how these small businesses and startups are leveraging these services to do a lot more with less. So if you think about it, it makes sense that companies were able to launch for less because of the various ways that we really help customers save money. So the first is that what we touched on already. When you go the route of trying to build your own server, or maybe you have a server running your office, you need to anticipate the peak number of users that you might have at a given time and assure that you have enough servers to run, or you have a backup server if something goes wrong. It gets complicated and complex very soon, or very easily. AWS removes that. With a single click, we give you a server. If you need more, that's another click, and you can keep growing from there. And again, you're only paying for what you use. If you want to turn it off and stop, you click a button and it shuts down and you stop getting charged. The second is that with one of the big benefits is our economies of scale. So since we operate in this infrastructure for millions of customers, we can operate this for much less than most businesses can do on their own. So these savings get passed on to you, allowing you to run your business for less. And since we began, we've actually lowered our prices 72 times on a number of services. It means that without doing anything, these services became cheaper and cheaper to operate for all of our customers. So these economies of scale can really lead to real savings, and these translate into real savings for you and your business, which ultimately means to better margins and more profit, which can be used for growing your business. The third is that we have multiple pricing models that help. So if you know you're going to need a machine or a database for a long period of time, we can offer you a discount on that. Or maybe you only need a lot of compute power for a short period of time. We have something called a spot market, which lets you bid, and you get up to 90% off the cost of that machine. So perhaps maybe it's end of year and you need to run financials for or tax purposes, and you need a bunch of machines to do that for you. Well, this is a great example of how that may help. Lastly, the more you spend and the bigger you grow, the more discounts you're going to unlock. And a great example of that is storage. A lot of people need backups. Maybe you have photos or videos for your business that you're storing somewhere. The more you store, it starts unlocking different tiered pricing models. So it allows you to have discounts as you store more and more media. So I just want to recap real quick on the old traditional model versus the new model. So in the old world of running IT for your business, it was buying this expensive equipment, hiring someone to set it up for you, worrying about maintaining it, doing backups on it. There's networking involved. Things fail all the time. And so a lot of money went into that. You had resources administration who are taking care of this equipment for you. Maybe you have a consulting company or a friend's friend who comes into the office every couple of weeks to look at this stuff. You're forced to sign contracts, right? Buying equipment is expensive, and you feel forced to use it. Ultimately, this old traditional model was very expensive for businesses, and it made it very difficult to pivot or shift because of these costs that you've already incurred. You want to feel like because you spent money on this equipment, you're getting the most value out of it. And so it really made companies less risk adverse. Less risk averse, yes. In the new world of cloud model, this no upfront cost means that people are able just to, again, add machines when they need it and start growing with their business. These services allow you to quickly start prototyping things and testing out new ways. Maybe you want to build a search system for commonly asked questions that your customers might have, or you want to start building a contact system or inbound phone system that we saw that HomeSafe first built. These are great examples of using off-the-shelf services we have that you can quickly piece together, almost like Lego blocks, to build your business. It also allows you in this new model to, again, scale up with your business. You shouldn't be paying a lot of money for infrastructure and this machine and resources if you don't have a lot of users. Your infrastructure should be growing with your user base. And lastly, this is all self-service, meaning you don't have to get on the phone and ask someone for a new database or a new place to store your videos. You can log into a website, click a button, and have access to this in minutes. A common question people ask are really around what are the drivers? So we saw the benefits of why people are using AWS and the costs and the agility, but what's pushing them towards it? Well, the first is that it's safer in cloud than on-premise. When you're building, let's say you have a server under your desk in an office, a lot of risk is involved in that. Power might go out, in which case something might not run on that machine. A hard drive might fail on it. You might have an unfortunate break-in and that server might be taken, which I've seen happen to some businesses, and it's very unfortunate. So backing up to the cloud is obviously an option, but running that machine in AWS means you're not susceptible to those types of risks. On top of that, we have a lot of safety measures in place to protect the data of your customers to ensure that no unauthorized access can get to it. And we have a shared security model that we can share more information about. So you're basically building on top of some of the most trusted security best practices in the industry. It's the reason why Department of Defense, NASA, and other companies build on top of AWS because of this type of security. So if it's good enough for these large organizations, I promise it's up to snuff for your small and growing business. The second is that it's overall reduced cost of infrastructure. Many businesses have run these calculations already and said, it's cheaper to have this running in AWS and not have a team of people trying to manage this infrastructure. The third is that you don't have to worry about updating your databases, your servers, your IT infrastructure. We are constantly updating these services. We release more than 3 or 4 new things every day, and you get these updates pushed out to you. So you don't have to worry about going and upgrading and something going wrong. It's all automatic for you. The fourth is that we're seeing that more and more IT budgets are being cut. Businesses are being asked to do a lot more with less resources. And AWS is really a way to empower your employees and your IT team or IT person or just your company in general to do more with less. You're putting these powerful tools and services into their hands so they can build much quicker and much easierly. Lastly is resiliency. Everything we build at Amazon, which you're running on top of, is built with high resiliency in mind, meaning you don't run the risk of a database breaking and not getting and your system or site going down. Everything we build is redundant. You could have a major power outage in one of our data centers, and an entire another data center will take over for us and continue to serve your customers. So we know how essential it is for your stuff to be up and running, and we put a lot of work into making sure our infrastructure is operational for you. So that's kind of a primer on our tech for AWS. I know that's a lot to process, but we'll talk more about resources and where you can learn more. The next piece I want to cover is really around the programs from AWS. So we have a number of programs built, and these have been established over the years as we worked with businesses of all sizes and found that these have been the most helpful programs for businesses to leverage. The first is our Activate program, and this is really for any small business just starting or startup. And what it is it's instant access to credits, meaning you'll have free credits to start building these databases and playing with our services. And that way, again, there's no risk involved with experimenting. If you don't like it at the end, or you find something better out there, turn it down or basically turn it off, and there's no risk involved to your business. The second is that there's a business support plan for that, meaning that if you do have any kind of problems, you have someone that you can talk to and get help from. It also gives you self-paced labs. So these are self-paced guides on learning the essentials of how to spin up some of these resources. Maybe it's a WordPress site, or maybe it's an accounting system, or maybe it's a employee time scheduling service that you want to be running. You'll learn all the essentials of how to get that up and going with these self-paced labs. We also have office hours. You can come and join, ask questions, and a number of marketing spotlight opportunities to let more people learn about your business through our marketing channels. The next one is our marketplace. And our marketplace is really a way for, if you're building a software product that other companies are using, let's say that this works both ways for you. So either you want quick access to software. This allows you to go in and look at a whole catalog of available software where with a single click, you can deploy that within AWS. So you can stand up, maybe you're doing a virtual classroom. And so you do a single click and it'll stand up a server running another company's virtual classroom product that you can try and demo. A lot of times you want to try the software, you have to get a machine, you have to install the software, and this is time consuming. Marketplace turns this all into really a single click opportunity. So if you're looking for a quick way to test software that might help your business, Marketplace is a great catalog of software to look at, browse, and find something that might be of value. On the flip side of that, if you are a business that sells to other businesses, one of the hardest things is really figuring out how to package that software up and distribute it. Maybe it's through a subscription as a service model. Maybe it's through desktop delivery. Maybe it's so other people can deploy it within AWS. Well, Marketplace simplifies all of that and takes care of all the billing for you. So all you have to do is release your product, and then customers can trial this, pay for it, and you don't have to worry about the billing aspect of it. We'll do it all for you and cut you a check at the end of the month. The next program is Launchpad. So we have a lot of customers who are building a physical product. These like Ring doorbells or Ireo, or there's a whole number of these companies. And they want to know how they can tap into the millions of customers who are on top of Amazon.com shopping every day. And Launchpad is our way to do that. And so what Launchpad is it's sometimes front page placement of these products, but it's spotlighting the most innovative products in every category. So if you go to Amazon.com/Launchpad, you're going to see products that span every category, including kitchen gadgets, electronics, gardening, clothing, well, not clothing, maybe clothing tech. There's a lot. It's basically any innovative product. So if you're building one of these or you're building innovative brands, reach out to the Launchpad team and find out how you can tap into this. One of my favorite little features of the Launchpad is we have a whole Shark Tank section. So you can actually filter by your favorite or least favorite shark to find out what products they have on there and then shop and purchase that way also. We also have a partner network. a lot of people understand the value prop of moving to the cloud. And we saw, because the cost benefits, security, the breadth of services that you get access to. So they're no longer asking this question of if we should start building in the cloud and when, but it's more a question of when are we doing this and how fast can we move? And so to help, we have our AWS Partner Network, and these are, it's a global program really around people who are experts in helping companies build, market, and sell by building on top of AWS. And so by working with these vetted partners, they're going to help look at your workloads and help figure out how to build and set this up for you. So if you're looking for a quick way to do any kind of migration, the cost benefits there, the Partner Network is a great resource to tap into. Likewise, if you are a organization that is enabling small businesses within your own communities, you can become a partner, one of these partners, and tap into other customers who are asking for help on expertise and how to actually build and deploy within Amazon or within the cloud. And you might be wondering, well, what type of businesses do this? And a great example of this is, NASA used a company called InfoZen, because they wanted to consolidate this vast array of images and videos they collected from space. Or Verizon ended up using a company called Stilligent to help kind of build on their security processes to kind of go beyond what they're already doing with their cloud security teams. And so companies of all sizes use this. We have large partners and small partners. It's a great resource to be aware of or to become a member of. And so, again, I know this is a lot of information, and so we're going to open up for questions momentarily, but we're also going to hear from Trevor from Home Safe First. But I want to leave you with some of these links for these programs we touched on. And these slides will be sent out to everyone on the call, so you'll have it. You don't have to start scribbling with your notepad right now. So again, the first is Activate. This is our program. I encourage you to sign up. It'll give you immediately access to, or rather quickly, access to credits to start building and training to learn how to use AWS. The second is the Partner Network. Again, these are people who can help you build, or you can learn how to become one of these partners. The third is the Marketplace, which has a catalog of software available, so you can start deploying the software within your environment, or start offering your software and service in the Marketplace. Launchpad, which is the physical product on top of Amazon.com for our shoppers. And then the last one is a bonus link. If you're technical and you just want to know how to start using some of these services, these are 10-minute quick start guides that will teach you how to stand up a database or stand up a search system or stand up a simple website, usually within about 10 minutes per module. So it's a great way to kind of get your feet wet on learning and playing with AWS. So I want to take this moment now to introduce everyone on the call to Trevor Brooks. Again, he's the founder of Home Safe First and also Gunbail. As you heard earlier, they were able to move very quickly and build this contact tracing system for the COVID-19 pandemic, which is deployed today and continue to get adoption. And so I'd like to hand over the phone to Trevor, and so we can learn kind of about Trevor and his experience. So Trevor, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mackenzie, and hello, everyone. I'll just get right into it. This is an interesting milestone for our company because on March the 24th, 2019, we met the AWS team and agreed to join the AWS Cloud Start program, which at the time was explained to us that would give us the infrastructure of AWS to grow and scale our business. So previous to that, we had one app platform called Gunbail, and Gunbail, through our process of trying to make Gunbail a product that would be adopted by municipalities and governmental agencies, we did a lot of marketing and demos, and we would have a lot of connectivity issues, and it just overall was unreliable. So what we did was we joined AWS Cloud Start, And through their business development coaching, and particularly the technology platform, we were able to create in this 1 year 2 additional app platforms. The first app platform that we were able to create was an extension built off of our original Gunbell platform called Home Safe First. Home Safe First was a public safety tool, which is an anonymous reporting tool and a consent to search tool that was built to reduce shootings, mass shootings, incidents of mass shootings, drug overdoses, and a whole litany of public safety issues. We contracted shortly after that. We spoke with the Circuit Attorney's Office of St. Louis, who we had been negotiating with for well over a year, and they just never closed the door. But they were interested. Once we joined AWS Cloud Start, we were able to build a more reliable app platform with Home Safe First Public Safety. And we went to the Circuit Attorney's Office and we started to market it to St. Louis. They were skeptical, but then we found out that they were having server issues with another company's product that they had been using for the last 20 years. So what we did was leverage our relationship with AWS and Cloud Start and was able to convince the Circuit Attorney's Office of St. Louis, the city of St. Louis, to migrate their cloud services over to AWS GovTech. At the same time, we were attempting to negotiate the sale of or the connection for Ring cameras to be deployed inside of St. Louis city limits as well. So what we did was we noticed that attaching ourselves to the AWS brand and products as a partner and offering additional AWS products that were in network, we were able to build credibility. Because the Circuit Attorney's Office relied on the credibility of the AWS platform to migrate their cloud services over, they immediately closed the contract with Home Safe First. And we began to work with them and AWS along with us. Along that journey, the day that we were about to launch inside of the public schools of St. Louis to prevent any acts of mass gun violence, the public schools decided they were closed. The coronavirus broke out. So it was that day that the superintendent said, well, maybe our students could still use the product, the anonymous reporting tool, once they're home to alert us if any of them get sick if they're home. So I thought, hey, why would we just keep it with students? This is a tool that everyone could use. Once we realized that we had to open an alert system, the problem was, okay, COVID is here now. So we called AWS and got on because they work really closely with us. So, we connected with AWS, and within 3 days, we were able to build out a comprehensive, robust platform. And as Mackenzie said, he mentioned the call center, but it's much more. We built out an app interface as well that pre-screens, schedules, intake and triage, and also now we're updating to present test results to make the whole testing parallel more efficient. So we pivoted in 3 days. We were able to launch this. We were the first company that we know of to actually upload a working app model for COVID pre-screening to the App Store. Shortly after that, once we began working with the pre-screening and we we shortly started working with testing sites, because what we found out is that our tool has become the traffic cop for testing sites because of the way that we poll the community and the tools that we use. As Mackenzie mentioned, we use Amazon Connect. We were able to build in-app, a cloud-based, omni-channel, virtually unlimited queue call center into our app product to help us address the COVID-19 within 3 days. This gave us the capability to, and I'm just going to coin this just for this conversation, to become, or to sort of be kind of like a ring or ADT of natural disasters or infectious disease. It gave us the capability to have the swiftest response and to staff cloud remote staff that made it safe. And through the white glove service, we were able to deliver through our Amazon Connect part of the platform, along with our app interface and the upgrades and the speed and the reliability that we were able to build into our system on AWS. We quickly scaled. We started with 200 people. We didn't have a contract within St. Louis except with the circuit attorney's office. Within 1 day, we had all of the city employees. Within a week, it was the entire city. And now as of this morning, we have contracted with the Missouri State Department of Health to address hotspots, as well as run 6 sites within the city limits, city and county limits of the St. Louis area. So we'll be addressing testing, pre-screening, triage, intake, and testing, and result rendering for the state of Missouri. And we built this application a month and a half ago. So what we were able to do, because of reliability and speed of AWS, we were able to build a platform to start with one function and adapt and update almost daily with different tools in AWS. We added in artificial intelligence and some other components that were offered to us. We get on the phone with our engineers and team and business development team and Cloud Start AWS. They provide their business development and solutions architects that tell our engineers, when we tell them what we want to do, they say, well, you may want to use this product, or this would be good for that, and this would be good for that. And as Mackenzie said, we're able to run quick trials that are inexpensive to see the results of implementing those tools, those AWS tools into the flow of our platform. So what we were able to do was create a end-to-end platform to address infectious disease spread. And we would not have been able to do that without the several AWS products that we have in the chain of our platform's user flow. So I think that if you want to be a fast-moving, effective startup, because, as Mackenzie said, it changes every day. And we're a little guy. We're not LabCorp. We're not one of these big companies. But what we have a unique set of processes that we were able to make more efficient with the tools that we gained from AWS, and that efficiency solves a big problem. So we started out as a pre-screening tool, but the big problem is testing and contact tracing. Well, the contact tracing is new, so that was a problem, but we're quickly adapting to that. But the testing, it's manpower. it's being able to test as many individuals as you can in a lot of time. And with all of the requisition forms and intake and long lines and really just organized fusion of attempting to test large populations or large swaths of population. We recognize that. And we were able, because we have the tools from AWS, to streamline it, to cut the time down to a third per test. So now we are piloting the new updates that we're building in right now. And as right now, our team is building for Monday, and we're able to do that. We can add in things along the way. We're adding in that, and we're trying to figure out ways to streamline the process with each individual point. And of course, another solutions architect from Amazon calls me and says, "Hey, I was thinking that you guys may want to add in a ID and a card identification tool that we also have." So at AWS. So that solved the problem. At that very day, we were trying to figure out whether we were going to use barcodes, QR codes. How were we going to scan at the site? What interface was we going to use with the scanner? Well, because a solutions architect called me and said, "Hey, we were thinking on our own time, without you giving us any direction or asking us the question." Me as an AWS solutions architect, because I work with your company in Cloud Start, I think about your company's trajectory when your company is in the room or in the conversation. And he gave me this wonderful idea that helped us solve a problem we were trying to deal with and streamline the system even more. So at the end of all of that, we started a year and 4 days ago with AWS with one app. We have 3 app platforms now, and our latest app platform has been able to address thousands of citizens in St. Louis so far and help them with COVID tests. We have testimonials that we have saved lives, and we have been contracted by the Missouri State Health Department, and we're going to go now scale nationwide. We're going to work in Baltimore, in Delaware, and a few other states. But we would not have been able to do this. We would not be in this space. I could not have built out these products that fast, no matter how much I wanted to, without the help of AWS. And on a sidebar along the way, I know we're going to talk about cooler brands, but we dealt with a partner company that did engineering for us. I am a non-technical founder. So we hired partners that did our development for us. Along the way, once we joined AWS, they also entered into the AWS Cloud Start program and became AWS Development APNs, which really made it easier for them to work with us. And so you could pick an APN development partner if you don't have one, as Mackenzie said, but you could also, your developers could get AWS certified, and that would help out a lot. There's just so much synergy and support within the AWS platform that for a small startup, it's very beneficial if they look to ways to leverage the larger entity, to the benefit and growth and scale of their company. And they make it very easy to do that. And I can honestly say we wouldn't be where we are. Like I said, we're scaling, and we're on our way to close a very big monthly contract, a multi-million-dollar monthly contract with the state of Missouri, and we intend to expand that across the country and the globe. And we've done that because of AWS and AWS Cloud Start.
Trevor, thank you very much for that story. It's actually incredible, and how quickly you're able to build everything And you raised one of the most valuable resources that I failed to mention, which is, we have these solution architects and they work with, they're assigned to a number of startups and businesses, and they see these common patterns, and they're here to help guide you and help. And so really just reaching out and starting and talking to somebody here to find out, hey, this is what I'm currently doing with my business. How can this program or Amazon programs help my business grow? That's really what we're here for. I'm not on the sales side. I'm on the helping startups succeed side. So my measurement is how many businesses have we helped grow, and it's not a dollar amount. It's just how many businesses can we help from the AWS side. Again, thank you for joining and sharing that story and backgrounds. We do have a few minutes for a Q&A. I think that's the next slide. It is. So we're going to hop over and look at the Chime chat. If you have a question, please put it in there. Or if you want to unmute and join that way, you are invited to. It's a good chance to hear from either people from Amazon or direct questions to Trevor to say, look, this is a phenomenal story. How did you do a certain step? Or I'm currently facing a certain challenge. What do you recommend for my business at this stage? And hopefully we can provide you some help and guidance. So with that, I'm going to close this, and let's go to any questions. All right, a few questions here. Let's see, I'm trying to follow through the three questions. The one is, what is the AWS application on engineering firms? If you can give me more, rephrase that, or give me more, help me understand that question better, I'm happy to answer it. AWS products for design firms. If you are, a good example for the design piece is a lot of times design firms have to prototype or build, a certain prototype for another company. And so we actually have a tool called Amplify, which lets you, once you design the application, build a very quick prototype of it. So with one command, you could say, I need user authentication for my mobile app. Another command says, I need a search system. Another command says, I need a website for it. And so it's built to really rapidly build these prototypes, which a lot of design firms do when they're trying to build these applications and show them in a working example. So that's probably the closest to helping design firms. And that product is called AWS Amplify. It's very powerful for just quickly standing up a new idea and testing it out. And products used by engineering firms are built on AWS. I'm not sure the question on that also. I'll say that a large portion of just a lot of tech in general in the world is built using AWS today. And so there's a high, excellent. So if you want to rephrase that question, I'm happy to take it. Another common question we get while people think about questions they want to ask is, I already have stuff up and going. What's the first thing I should think about moving or trying to move over to AWS? And often it's really just a website to start. And we make it very easy. There's many different ways to do that. And so we don't want to just say, here's the one product to use. We want to talk to you and find out, what are you spending today? What does it cost you? And can we do this for cheaper using AWS? So if you reach out, we'll help you figure out how to migrate that over. And once you have that website moved over, or maybe it's an application for your business, you then are within the AWS ecosystem. You suddenly have access to a number of different services that you can start leveraging. So it's a great starting point. Any questions we can take? Question is, I have a client who is a physician and wants to transfer patient medical records from the premises to the cloud. So that's fantastic. So in the United States, in order to do that and run your patient data safely, you have to adhere to HIPAA compliance. And so we have a large number of services that are all HIPAA eligible. And so what that means is you're able to sign a business agreement. It's a one-page doc, and it will then enable these services to be HIPAA eligible. And that allows you to securely and safely store this sensitive data. We have a bunch of mechanisms. For example, if you store this data on a virtual hard drive, we call it an EBS, you can click a checkbox and now that drive is encrypted, for example. We also have a number of tools that will go and look for security problems where you might be exposing your data and identifying this patient data for you automatically. And that's a service we have called Macy. We have a large number of healthcare companies that are running a wide number of these types of workloads in the cloud, including Philips Healthcare, for example. Bristol Myers Squibb does a lot of clinical trials using AWS. I built Oscar Health Insurance that's fully running in AWS, and that deals with a large number of patient data and claim data for patients across 5 different states. So 100%, it's going to be a very safe place to store medical data and medical information. And so I recommend that you reach out to the Cloud Start team, and one of our solution architects will walk you through the different offerings there. I'll also add to that while other people are asking or thinking of questions. We have a lot of vertical specialists, meaning, if you're talking about moving patient medical records, we have a really big team dedicated to healthcare life sciences. And this is not just on the enterprise side, but on the small business and startup side. And so these are all former people who built healthcare companies and understand those pain points. For example, myself, I've built a health insurance startup. I was in the early stages, and so I have a lot of experience helping to build and scale these systems and protect patient data. And this is really important. One solution doesn't fit everything. And so we want to really understand what your business is. Maybe you're in the automotive space, maybe you're in the delivery space, maybe you're in the food industry. We have specialists across the board that we tap into to get input from them to figure out what we can be doing to help your business. So healthcare is just something near and dear to my heart. So I'm glad you brought that up. Any other questions? Excellent. Well, these slides, again, will be sent out to everybody. If you want to save your question for later, or a question comes up in the middle of the night, remember cloudstartamazon.com. Email us. We're here to answer any questions you might have about growing your business. We'll share the programs. We'll help you with the tech. And ultimately, we're here to save you money and figure out ways to grow your business. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to join. It was a pleasure, and Trevor, thank you for joining us and sharing your story. I'm really excited to see all the adoption of your contact tracing as it happens across the country, and kind of the impact it's having in helping to solve that for everybody.
Thank you.
Hope everybody has a great day. I'm going to click the end button, and the meeting will now conclude.